The following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
To the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Yo, it's the Pipeman, and we're here on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio, Positively Pipeman, here on Monday. And we're going to talk first. Okay, so later in the show, we're going to talk about some powerful business strategies. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. We're also going to do some ticket giveaways. So we want to stay here for that. But for right now, we have a resident expert who Juan is going to bring on right now with himself. The pet health guru is here to talk about one of my favorite and least favorite subjects, and that is addiction. So let's bring on Studio Night and the pet health guru. Do. All right.
How are we doing today?
Hey, pet health guru. What's up with addiction?
Yes. What isn't up with addiction? Every place we turn around, shall we say, the powers that be want us addicted to something to distract from something else. And whether it's drugs, whether it's food, whether it's entertainment, it's all designed so that we can continue to make lots of money and keep you under control.
Well, that is what addiction is, isn't it? Like, why
Absolutely.
they give out fentanyl to people? Like, I was just watching the Hulk Hogan thing on Netflix, and, he was hooked on fentanyls because of his back surgeries, and all they kept doing is giving him stronger and more fentanyl. Like, do they not realize that kills people? I'm just wondering.
Well, it actually does, because any of those drugs is going to eventually result in death. It's just a very slow death. And, when we look at the various places that it's happening, of course, in the medical community, we see that. In pets, it's even worse when it comes to painkillers and things like that, because your pet can't speak out and say, hey, this isn't working for me, and we just watch them suffer. And of course, I've watched the way they've been doing prescriptions on this stuff over time. And it's like, okay, you get a 10-day supply. Now you're off it. The body's going to have to go through withdrawal. And it's like, there's nothing, there's no, no concern about it, if you will.
Well, here's the scary part, because I had my own experience, not with that, because whenever they write me scripts for pain relievers, I just throw them in the garbage. I don't use them. I don't care. I don't want them. I don't need them. I'll deal with the pain. The other reason I'll deal with the pain is because, listen, pain tells you not to do stupid stuff. So if you're masking the pain, then you're going to just make things worse. Like even as an example, it was... And we talked about how I went on a flying acrobatic trip here in the studio a couple weeks ago, and I still went about my business, did things, went to Flotopia, and then now where I have the bruised ribs, now it hurts more, and so I looked it up, and it's like, well, yeah, your pain is worse a couple weeks later because of the fact that at first it's kind of inflamed so you don't feel the pain the same. And so then you're overexerting yourself in the beginning, causing more. So it's the same concept, it's like, and with pets, I don't get it. Can you talk to me about why people put pets on drugs? They don't have drugs out in the wild.
Because they're told to, because a person with letters after their name wants to make a lot of money. And like I said, the pet can't talk back. So we don't really know even if it's helping or not. We think that doctors are healers. They're not. And it's like you say, if, for instance, if you hurt your shoulder, okay, and because of the repetitive work you do or types of things, the physical manual labor that you might be doing, and it hurts, and they give you a painkiller, you'll keep doing that job. And then, like you say, they're going to kick it up another dosage, higher. And then all of a sudden you walk in, doc, it's not working anymore. Oh, we're going to have to do replacement surgery for $20,000. The prescription is not for healing. The prescription is, how can I make more money off of you?
Yeah. So tell us what are the things currently popular that pets are addicted to, and then, why they shouldn't be. And when I say that, that's more of a story and opinion-based thing, because, of course we know why they shouldn't be, but, what's really going on that why they shouldn't be addicted to these medicines?
Well, the first and the worst in the pet industry addiction is pet foods. They actually use the synthetic sugars, the neotames, the aspartames, all of those, and there's literally hundreds of different ones, all proprietary for each of the companies. They all have their own variation of it, so that your animal can be fed a poor quality food and you never switch brands. It's all about brand identity. Mm-hmm. And again, it's all in the marketing, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse over time. And if it lowers the body's ability to even function in many cases. We often wonder why our pets, you put down a bowl of dry food especially, and they go over and they pick 1 piece, 2 piece, 3 pieces at a time, walk away and go back a half hour later and have another one. They're not finicky eaters. They're not designed to be grazers. They're actually designed, a wolf is designed to hunt, grab, tear, and swallow. And obviously they can't do that with kibble. They don't chew their food for the most part. But we've now conditioned them to be grazers. And the reason they're grazers then is because they know that stuff is bad. If you're starving to death, you'll eat some pretty nasty stuff, but you won't sit there and have, gorge yourself on it like you would a good meal. And that's a big part of what's going on with that addiction right there. They do it to us the same way. You take things like processed chicken or these TV dinner type things, pre-made dinners. Those are all loaded with addictive substances, so you'll always go back to it. And how I illustrate that, let's take a look at, like I say, chicken, okay? Why do some people only buy Purdue and others only buy Tyson and never sell a chew mix? Coke and Pepsi, basically the same formulation. Burger King and McDonald's, the same thing. It's those addictive drugs that are in all these foods that keep you going back to the same place. And actually, when they add those addictive formulas to it, they actually add substances that will make you sick if you eat the competitor's product. And that's why some animals, when they switch food, we have now all kinds of gastric problems, things of that nature. Other things that they use on the animal side, of course, are different, steroids for hip and joint problems. Now we're seeing dementia in dogs. We see autism in dogs. all of this is because of the chemicals.
Wow.
And, we're trying to micromanage a body, and you can't do that. You know that as well. You can take a painkiller for your shoulder, and it stops working. A good example of that is when CBD oil first came out and started being used. We actually produce it ourselves. All mammals do. But on the back side of that, it's not actually calming down the pain. It's actually turning on receptor sites so the body can start to fight that pain and clean it out. But on the back side of that, so you take a dose and your shoulder was hurting and now it feels a little bit better, but it still hurts. So you take another dose and you don't feel anything because the body is now moving it to the next place where there's inflammation. And, 90% of what goes on in our body, we have no clue. We only know that, okay, whatever's bad in it either came up in vomit or diarrhea or, skin rashes. We're only seeing the physical manifestation of it. But there's a whole bunch of stuff going on inside.
Oh, yeah. I think, I think that's even more true for pets because pets don't have a voice except for the pet health guru. But other than that, they can't tell you what's up, and you can guess. And I think that's part of the problem with leaving it in vets' hands is because the pet can't say anything. So whatever the vet says, you have to kind of go by because they're speaking for the pet.
Yeah, but they're not. I mean, they really aren't. That's part of the problem because, there's so many environmental assaults as well, with chemtrails and weather modification and lawn sprays and all that stuff that, you wake up one morning and your pet doesn't want to get out of bed, is lethargic, maybe, a little bit stiff, whatever. So we run to the vet. And of course, what do they do? Put them on painkillers and antibiotics. But they have no idea what was really wrong with them, that the animal was actually poisoned in the environment. And it builds up over time. And, again, it's just like with the painkillers that they give to us. The dog is not responding to this one. So we kick it up another level, and then they want to do replacement surgery. And, of course, in the meantime, all these chemicals are also eating away at the liver and the kidney and the lymphatic system, all the filters. So it's important that pet owners recognize that, yes, my animal isn't feeling well, but don't go rushing to try to give a solution that's going to be a quick fix, because in most cases, it's not a quick fix. It's just masking the symptoms and making it worse.
Well, that's the problem. We all want this quick fix nowadays. We've been brainwashed into it, trained into it. And the fact is, I always say, for humans, you spend that many years poisoning the body, you need to spend more than 5 minutes healing it.
Yes. Yeah, that's a very important part of it. It's, the body is capable of regenerating itself. That's what it's really designed to do. It's when we start doing our interventions, we're getting in the way of the body doing what it's made to do. And that's to keep us healthy and keep our pets healthy. Like you say, in nature, there is no pharmacy. There is no vitamin stores. There's no nutritional centers. No urgent care. Basically, they take care of themselves. And it's one of those amazing things that the body is actually able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you start adding foreign substances in the body, it disables your body's ability to do that.
Yes, it does. And a good illustration of that is a lot of the different peptides and antioxidants and that sort of thing that the body makes. If we start supplying it, like when, all these people are running around getting glutathione and, other things, and you're putting them in the body, and the best illustration I do is insulin with diabetics. Because when you start putting insulin into the body quits making it.
Yeah, it doesn't need to.
That's why you're insulin dependent. Yeah, exactly. So people can get off of it, but we have to go back to the core. What caused it? And generally speaking, most diabetes is caused by liver problems because the liver has to make the enzymes and the hormones that are going to utilize that insulin. And so, when we do this, it nullifies what the body's doing. The body says, oh, I got plenty of glutathione because I just got an infusion, or enough vitamin V because I got an infusion, and it quits utilizing it in a proper way. And, people spend a lot of money on this stuff. Doctors said so.
What do you think about, I'm getting it right now, I think it's NAD or NSD or something. What do you think of that new trend?
Oh, all this stuff, that's all this stuff is. The body makes everything we need or is provided for in nature. All money makers, that's all it is. Even stem cells. I mean, I use a technology that helps my body make brand new baby stem cells. Well, if you have your stem cells removed, spun down and processed by your doctor, by a medical professional, and they inject it back in, those are old stem cells that are dying. That's why the relief only comes for a short period of time.
Yeah.
But if you start producing, you clean your body up and get rid of the toxins so your body can actually function, you function better. Your pet will function better. And these technologies are crossover. I mean, we can do a lot of the same things for our pets. And I've seen some of the results that we've been getting with these technologies and with nutrition alone. It's just amazing.
So how do people reach out to you besides shooting their camera on their phone at the QR code in the top left-hand corner? How do they reach out to My Paleo Pet, where you have tons of products, tons of things they can check out? They can reach out to you. How do they check out your show, your podcast, the store in person? You're moving, so let's give them all the intel. Yeah,
of course, My Paleo Pet. Use that QR code right now and go in and sign up as a VIP so you get the newsletters and all the announcements and everything else. Get on our mailing list. Of course, we're on social media, things like Facebook and Instagram under My Paleo Pet, BioComplete, Pet Health Guru, and of course myself, my name. The show, Pet Health Cafe, will continue on and get through this 18th season and start a brand new one again with a lot of information for people. That's what we want to do. We want to keep you educated. We are moving into a new facility. A new facility is going to have a media center and an educational center so that we can do much more as far as this education part of it is concerned. We'll be adding extra services that'll go along with that. And essentially trying to upgrade our premium products to even super premiums without using the addictive drugs and the addictive flavors.
Nice. And so, okay.
But, we're excited about it. We're excited where we're going.
We didn't talk about it yet, but how about, do they give addictive things to fish like guppies? I think Juan wants to know.
Absolutely they do. That's the flavors that they add to the fish food.
Whoa.
Because, if you look at the pellets, that's the same as kibble. That's the same as kibble. It's made the same way as kibble.
Is that why when you put that like in the water, they like freak out and they're all, they want it all and you can't stop giving it to them?
I think the question is like, what do guppies eat in the wild?
A lot of little bugs. Most of the fish, or depending on the size of the fish, other fish, anything that's smaller than they are basically is prey. I mean, look at whales. They eat plankton. You can't even see plankton, and yet
it's wild.
Grow
Right?
to enormous size.
That is always so
seawater
wild.
They have to go through there. All that seawater, they're filtering out all that plankton, and yet the plankton keep reproducing like crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I always thought Plankton was a SpongeBob character.
If you would like to know the difference between a boomer, a Gen X, and a millennial, that's the one right there. The millennials, like the Gen X and the boomers, they know that whales eat plankton from Moby Dick, and then the millennials, they think that plankton is a TV character, a cartoon one at that. They are pretty cool looking in SpongeBob, though.
And the crazy thing is, like, this new generation, if you ask them, like, what's their favorite cartoon, most of them say YouTube.
No, that's funny.
Yeah, they don't have a favorite cartoon. They just like watching videos on YouTube.
Yeah, speaking of addiction, YouTube, social media. Like, I see people on social media that are talking about their pets get hooked on these, like, TV shows and stuff. So even the pets are getting addicted to technology.
I've got a friend with a German short-haired pointer, which are crazy dogs anyway. I had them when I was a kid. But anytime there's a golf match or animals on the TV, the dog sits in front of that TV watching it, just like a person.
Yeah.
Just mesmerized by it. My dog could care less of the TVs, and that's like me. I guess our pets pick up our energy as well.
Well, and that leads me to a question, because we've heard before on your episodes, your bird, okay? And I see a lot of TikToks of cockatiels and parrots either dancing to music videos on TV or even calling out, and this is great, calling out Alexa to play music.
Yep.
Does your bird do that?
Around.
Does your bird do that?
No.
Your bird has been sheltered from
Absolutely not. Yes, exactly.
What does your bird do that no other bird does? I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Inquiring minds want to know. Oh, what am I? I mean, they bring me joy. They bring me peace of mind. Because, you go out in the wild today, you're not seeing the wild birds anymore. You're not hearing the songbirds anymore because they're not there. Because we've sprayed and killed all their diet, all the bugs and all the plants that they would normally feed on. And it's distorting nature now. I mean, it used to be, I've done, over the last couple of months, I've been into a couple of the parks and that throughout South Florida and up along the Treasure Coast and everything. And you walk through and you don't even see a bird. You don't see any butterflies.
That's because they're hanging with me. I won't poison them. Not like Juan, giving them those poisonous flakes. No, but seriously, I sit out on my balcony and they come visit me. They come hang out on the railing, talk. I haven't been able to figure out what they're saying yet. I've been trying to use Duolingo to do it, but in Google Translate isn't helping either. But they come over, they talk, and then somebody else gets their attention and they leave. Kind of like a woman.
Mm-hmm. Yep, a lot like a woman.
Oh man, and so I want to know too. Is like, okay, Juan, is your guppy addicted to any TV or movies?
Not yet, but I'm willing to introduce them to some.
I mean, have you ever seen that, Bill, where like fish literally stop swimming in their tank?
I have seen that.
Something.
So I saw a video not too long ago, and Bill can attest to something like this, where they put the fish tank right next to the TV, and they were watching a movie about. It was something about water related, and they were all facing the TV at the same time, but they were like bigger fish. They weren't guppies.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a good example of that is if you go down into the Keys, there's a couple of marinas down there where the tarpon all hang out because they know they're going to be fed and they're going to get attention. And, that's an addictive behavior.
You know what else I just found out recently, Bill, in all these years I didn't even know, is that we actually, it's not just down in Africa. We have anacondas in the Everglades here. Did you know that?
Yeah, it's a whole bunch. That's why I said there's literally hundreds of species of animals that are invasive. Part of that was, of course, the major hurricanes that come through. And, if you were a supplier of wildlife or of exotic pets, and your building got knocked down, it wasn't that people, they're trying to portray that people are just letting them loose out there. No, they happen to be during this, during these kind of crises. And, it's unfortunate when it happens, but it's part of nature. And of course, a lot of things too, like some of these snails and stuff, they attach themselves to the ships. So the ship is in Africa, it comes over, the snails fall off, and now we got them.
Yeah. It's funny you said about, people just dropping them in, and I'm sure that happens too, because many years ago, there was an alligator in the sewer systems of New York because somebody got a little pet alligator and then got rid of it by flushing it down the toilet like you do a goldfish.
Yep.
What? You know what?
There's a lot of goldfish out there in the wild now, too.
Well, you know what? My thing is, why wait till they're dead to free them by flushing them down the toilet? Like, free them while they're alive. Let them go. It'll take them out to wherever they got to go.
Exactly.
Yep. It's kind of like, why do we tell people how much we love them after they die? They can't hear you. Tell them while they're living.
Nope.
Let your
absolutely.
pets be addiction free while they're living. Don't kill your pets with addiction.
Absolutely.
That's the moral of the whole story. You have any final words for us, Pet Health Guru?
The whole thing is educate yourself. If you're going to be a pet owner, be a responsible pet owner. It doesn't matter whether it's the smallest guppy to an exotic animal. Learn what they need from to thrive in nature. And some of this stuff. I mean, I happened to be at a pet trade show about a month ago, and looking at the aquatic stuff, the fish, and they had a display of fish that they have bred to the point, and obviously it's some sort of GMO, where they actually glow in the dark and have different colors that they've never had before, iridescent colors that they've never had before. It's like we're trying to manipulate everything. Stick with the basics. Stick with the basic. Don't try to make it any better, because generally speaking, we screw everything up. So
yeah, like the three-eyed fish in Fort Lauderdale. They think on The Simpsons that was fake. No, that's Fort Lauderdale. They have the three-eyed fish down by what's that one little area where it's I think it's near like a nuclear plant or something. It's just like The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Have you been there, Juan?
Yeah.
To Fort Lauderdale? Yes. To the nuclear plant? No.
No, not to Fort Lauderdale, to the waterway where they have all of the radioactive fish and three-eyed and stuff like that. Bill knows what I'm talking about.
No, but after hearing these, I'm never going there anyways.
Yeah. Yep. You could be the next superhero, Juan. You could go and that's how Aquaman was formed.
Or I could be the next circus freak.
That might be more fun.
More money there than superhero.
Less dangerous. Speaking of circus freaks, who wants to win some festival tickets? Because we're going to be giving away. Oh, Juan, do I have the Sonic Temple commercial still in there?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to play that right now because Sonic Temple is coming up, and I actually have an opening for some free tickets. It's coming up in May. This is an incredible festival. and we're giving you one last chance to win tickets to Sonic Temple. And then we're going to listen to some powerful business strategies. How about that? All right. Well, thanks for being here, Pet Health Guru. Once again, your amazing help for our pet owners as the
My
humans
pleasure.
and the pets. And those of you that want to win tickets to Sonic Temple, it's your last chance. You need to DM me on Pipeman Radio on all socials, and you will be entered to win. Roll it, Juan. And, oh, wait.
Sonic Temple.
We're just messing with people now. Okay. Bring me back after Sonic Temple.
The Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns May 14th through 17th with My Chemical Romance, Tool, Bring Me the Horizon, and Shinedown. Plus, Pierce the Veil, Good Charlotte, The Offspring, Sublime, Godsmack, Breaking Benjamin, Marilyn Manson, and so many more. Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, May 14th to 17th. Passes on sale now for as low as $1 down at SonicTempleFestival.com.
Coming up in a couple weeks, Pipeman will be at Welcome to Rockville, also right before Sonic Temple at Daytona International Speedway. Make sure to, be there and hang out with the Pipeman. And we don't have tickets left for that, but we do have tickets for Sonic Temple, Pipeman Radio on all socials. And now, let's have some powerful business strategies from Michael Barbarita of Next Step CFO.
Hey, you're listening to The Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio, and this is our Positively Pipeman segment that we do every Monday. And our resident business expert is with us once again. So welcome to the show, Michael Barbarita. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me, Dean.
You're like my Next Step CFO hero. And today we have to revisit something because it's so important, and it's one of my favorite subjects. So let's talk a little bit about position of market dominance. We're going to revisit this because we've talked about it before, but let's expand on it.
Yes. I think we talked about it back in July and August, Dean. So I thought I would bring it up again because, getting attention is difficult. A. B, not competing on price. It's difficult. The mindset of many business owners out there, it's all about price. The whole world revolves around price with them. And it takes a while to really understand how value can take over from price. But, one of the ways that we found have been really effective in terms of getting not only attention, but making price irrelevant and creating more value for the customer. And that is what we call a position of market dominance. Now, in order to understand position of market dominance, you have to understand that the key to successful marketing is getting into the mind of the prospect. But how do you do that? I mean, it's easy to say, but how do you do that? And so what we found is that there are two major emotions that gets into the mind of the prospect. The problem the customer has it doesn't want, the solution they want they can't find. And that helped us create what we call the conversion formula. So, and the position of market dominance happens to be the first two components of the conversion formula. So let me go through the conversion formula again. And that is, so the first step of the formula, and you got to follow the formula in this exact order. Otherwise, it doesn't work because this is the way the mind works.
Yeah.
The formula is positioned the way the mind works. So the first step of the formula is what we call captivate. Captivate is a headline or the first thing you say or that your prospect sees when they come in contact with your brand. It's the problem that the customer has and doesn't want. And so that's the first step. The second step we call fascinate. Fascinate is the solution your solution to that problem that they can't find. So the combination of the captivate and the fascinate is what we call a position of market dominance. The more positions of market dominance that you could create, the more value will be given to the prospect, and getting their attention, number one, and number two, making price irrelevant. So those first two components, captivate, fascinate, that's your position of market dominance. The third step is educate, where you now educate the customer on why your solution is superior. And then the fourth step is the close. And that's where you have to relate to the prospect an offer that's so compelling and so irresistible that they can't turn it down. Now, with respect to that, we have separate shows on compelling offers so that you understand what a compelling offer is. But the real value here is understanding how to create that position of market dominance. And 9 out of 10 times, a good position of market dominance has to do with how you solve an industry problem. For example, contractors never call you back. That's one example.
I have one of those examples right now.
Yeah, or they don't show up on the day they say they're going to start the job, or they start the job and then ghost the job for 3 or 4 weeks. And by the way,
it's just my daily life you just talked about right there.
So it's these types of situations that are top of mind to a prospect.
Yeah,
it's these types of situations where they know that this is kind of commonplace. But what are you going to do to solve that particular problem? And that's where the position of market dominance is the most effective. Because if you could provide guarantees around showing up on time, and this is just an example for the trades. It's not, there's millions of problems that customers perceive about a number of different industries, but I happen to be picking on the trades. But if you could guarantee, make some type of financial guarantee associated with showing up on time, associated with calling back, associated with, once we start the job, we're not going to leave. That has incredible value above and beyond price. And then when you're guaranteeing it, where you're actually giving them financial benefits if you don't follow through with these promises, it just makes it so much more compelling. So the conversion formula and position of market dominance, which is the first two components of the conversion formula, and to have multiple positions of market dominance, and we can help you create those. Have multiple positions of market dominance is the big separator between competing on price and offering value that makes price irrelevant and get people's attention.
Well, that's a key thing. That's the thing you got to do first is catch people's attention.
Right. And then, so our research has shown that you have to get into the prospect's mind, and you do that through identifying the problem that they have, they don't want, solution they want, they can't find. And the beautiful thing about the conversion formula, too, it follows a pattern. The first two components are the emotional. They're the emotional components, the problem and the solution. The third component is the logical. This is the way we solve this problem. And that's the logical component, because people buy based on emotion and then back up that emotion logically. And so the formula follows that exact pattern, that exact psychological pattern.
I love it. And sales is a transfer of emotion.
Right. Absolutely. And so that we found that when clients do it right, you can do it wrong, by the way. Let me give you an example of doing it wrong. So a painting company would say, the problem the customer has is they can't pick the right color paint. Well, unfortunately, every painter can pick the right color paint. There's really no real, and there's no way to really make a guarantee to back up the claim that you'll make sure that the client picks the right color paint, unless you're going to do the job again with a different color paint and for free, that kind of thing. So there are certain problems that people think they, customers have, but if everybody can solve those problems, that's not a position of market dominance.
Right.
Right. So you have to identify, but there are many problems that the industry has that business owners simply ignore. And if they really thought about it, what the perception is of the customer and how they can solve that problem. And lots of times it can be solved with a simple guarantee. As long as you have the skill set to be able to deliver on that, then it works incredibly well.
Totally. So how do people reach out to you to get some more insight and beneficial advice for their business?
Well, I'd like to give them a little template, Dean. So if they go to nextstepcfo.net/contact, fill out the contact form and put in the message section PMD, position of market dominance, PMD, I will give them a template that will help them evaluate their own position of market dominance.
Nice. Well, it's always a pleasure dealing with you and having you on the show because, man, you got some of the best business advice and people definitely need to reach out to you. So everybody reach out to Michael, no matter what your business issue, solution, whatever you need. Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO is your guy. And thank you once again for helping our listeners.
Thank you, Dean. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.